Good morning, class. So, for Hfle today, we'll be looking at critical thinking when it comes to decision making. So, first of all, let's look at the question on the board. Why is it important to think critically when making decisions? What comes to your mind when you hear that question? Yes, Shyaam?
I think that it's important because it helps us to know the outcome or the consequences of our decision.
Know the consequences of our decisions. Wonderful. Yes, Shari?
It helps us to solve problems.
Solve problems. Alright. Yes, Sarah?
It helps us to not make hasty decisions.
Not make hasty decisions. Anyone else? Yes, Samantha. Make informed decisions. Those are all wonderful answers. Thank you very much for that. So let me just write it. Consequences, make informed decisions, prevent hasty decision making. And can anyone remind what was the last one?
Yes, informed decisions. Informed decisions.
Solve problems.
Alright, so from these four here, Shyaam, can you give me an example of what you mean when you say know the consequences?
But I could give an experience. One time, my mother told me not to go out with a group of friends because she was concerned about the time, and I just wanted to go. I didn't really think about that, and we ended up getting robbed. So if I had thought that that was a possibility, I probably would not have gotten robbed.
Excellent example. What about prevent hasty decision making? Sarah?
Well, I was looking at wanting to travel, and I wanted to stay in India because my friend was having her sweet 16, and I didn't want to miss it. And I went and parked the bus, and my family had a great time and stayed together. So I wish I hadn't made that hasty decision. Like, wow.
Critically about it, it would have helped you in weighing the possible outcomes of it. That's an excellent example. Does anyone else have any more examples based on four? No? Alright. So, for today's lesson, we will not only be looking at how critical thinking helps in decision making, but we'll also be doing various real life scenarios based on the topic, as well as helping you as students be able to put these practices learned in class towards your real life decision making.
Okay, students, so we have seen some scenarios where we may need to display critical thinking, but there are many more scenarios that may require us to display that skill. So for today's lesson, we're going to go in depth into some of those scenarios, and I welcome your viewpoints. We're going to have a very interactive lesson where you share your thoughts and feelings openly, and we see if we can provide some solutions so that when you're faced with these situations in your life, you'll be able to deal with them appropriately. So without further ado, there's a video that we would like to play, and this video contains some dilemmas or problems that we may face that we may not necessarily know how to deal with. They're not necessarily wrong or right situations, but situations that require us to display critical thinking to come to the best solution. So without further ado, let's play that video.
Mr. Anderson pays me $6 an hour to mow his lawn. It usually takes me 2 hours, but last week I got it done 30 minutes faster. He already paid me in advance. Is it ethical for me to keep the money? Rubber damper.
Good. I bet all of you would have enjoyed that video.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So let's discuss it. You would have noticed that there were some dilemmas or situations in that video. Can anyone highlight what one of those situations were? Yes, Makita.
Providing false information about the hours of work. You can complete a job in 30 minutes, but you were paid in advance for 2 hours. You would return the rest of the money.
Yes, that is certainly a dilemma that we would face with in our everyday situation. So let me ask you guys a question. If you were in that situation, what would you do? Would you be tempted to return the money? To keep the money? Or would you feel that it's proper to return the money?
I feel it's proper to return the money, sir.
I
I
appreciate
agree
that.
with that, sir.
Thank you, Shari. So, can we have another dilemma that you will notice in that video? Who else can comment on that?
Sir, I would say, like cheating on a test.
Oh, okay. So, how does that happen? Why is that a dilemma for us, cheating on a test, if we notice someone cheating on a test? Why is that a problem? Think in terms of if this individual is a friend.
Oh, so like if you observe your friend cheating on a test, then like what are you going to do? Is it that way then?
Yes, exactly.
So, well, I wouldn't talk on my friend, but I would advise my friend not to cheat on the test. But I wouldn't wanna talk on my friend though.
Okay. So in that situation, what might be going through your mind? You're saying you wouldn't want to talk on your friend, but is that the right course? What do you guys think?
Well, it's not the right course because your friend has the option to cheat again if you don't. If you don't talk on them, they could do it again. They could disregard your advice and go and do it again. They could be like, man, she told me stripping this man. I can go and cheat on the test again and give me marks. So.
Okay, I appreciate that. And Sharon,
Sir.
yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir, I have a suggestion. Sir, I would advise that friend to seek help before the test. And, if you're struggling, go to the teacher or go to the person who would have taught you. You can even ask your peers because they might be familiar with what was done, and you can get help.
I appreciate that. That's very insightful, critical thinking. I appreciate that very much. Is there anything that you would encourage your friend to do? Shari?
I will encourage my friend to desist from taking such a path.
Yes.
I appreciate those responses very, very much. But if I may add, the reason why we call those situations dilemmas is because we're put in a very uncomfortable position. We may know what is the right thing to do, but then even though it's the right thing, we may worry about the consequences of our actions. And sometimes these are situations, like I mentioned earlier, that are not necessarily wrong or right, but we need to determine what would be the appropriate course of action that will leave us feeling good, but at the same time being beneficial to others. So I appreciate your viewpoints, and it was very interesting, and we know the video was very captivating. I'm glad you enjoyed it. So let's move on now to another stage of our lesson. Great. So students, I really enjoyed my class with you today. It was very interactive. You know, sometimes we think that as adults we're the only ones who can think and that we have all the knowledge. And sometimes we tend to think that young people, they're not necessarily intelligent or can make wise decisions. You guys have proved that you're capable of thinking critically when faced with situations. I hope that you do apply the many things that you said you would do in situations like those. But we do have a concluding activity, and I would just like you to know that for this activity, we're all learning. As we go through life, we're learning. So we might know how to deal with some situations, but there are other situations that we may still need answers to or guidance. So for our concluding activity, I have what are known as blank flashcards. So what I shall do with these flashcards, I'm going to share these flashcards out. And what you're going to do when I share these flashcards out is you are going to write a situation or dilemma that you are currently facing or you know someone who is facing that you don't know how to deal with. You're going to write such a situation on the card, and you are going to paste it on our Hfle workstation corner so that your peers can see these situations and provide suggestions on how to deal with them, and you may be able to provide suggestions to deal with their situations as well. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that, and be sure to paste them at the end of the lesson. So I'm going to just give these out. Please share these out to your peers, please. Thank you. So for homework, I have some homework for you guys as well. We would have looked at critical thinking today as a life skill, but there are other life skills. Critical thinking is a mental life skill. There are also some physical life skills. So what I would like you to do is to research one example of a physical life skill and think about how that life skill can benefit you now and in the future. So that's your homework. When you come to class next time, we will discuss it. So let's recap the lesson. So we have 3 questions. The first question is, why is it important to think critically when making decisions? What do you guys think? Yes, Nikita?
So you can solve problems more effectively, more properly. With critical thinking, you're able to weigh out your options and pick the best one.
Thank you very much, Nikita. Shari, you have a comment?
Yes, sir. I would say to avoid hasty actions. And being a young person, I find myself being guilty of doing this from time to time. So I will have to work on this as well.
I do appreciate your honesty.
Yes, sir.
Any further responses? Yes, Sarah?
Yes, sir. To make informed decisions, when you think critically, you're able to make a more sound, confident, and informed decision about what you're doing moving forward with your life.
Thank you very much. Michelle, go ahead.
Know the consequences.
Thank you very much. So I do appreciate your answers for that question. Another question, or second question, is to give me some examples of some ethical dilemmas that we would have discussed in class today. Yes, Nikita.
Start cheating on a test.
Thank you very much. Yes, Shari.
Yes, sir. We also dealt with bullying, and we said that if we're a witness to a person being bullied, we could tell an adult. More so, if it's happening in school, we could tell a teacher, and try as much as possible to be supportive to that person in that process.
Thank you very much. Yes, Sarah.
Hi, sir. Sir, we discussed also peer pressure. We spoke on if we see our friend pressuring another friend to take something they don't want to take, wear something they don't want to wear. We're faced with a dilemma of what to do, and we were discussing that we can take it to an adult. We can advise that friend to seek help with something they don't want to do.
Thank you very much. You have a comment, Michelle?
Yes, sir. We also dealt with keeping a friend's secret.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your insightful answers. Our final question, right? How can you use critical thinking to make proper decisions? What are the steps? Yes, go ahead, Marsha.
By analyzing our actions. All right. With critical thinking, we don't only think about what we're doing, but also the consequences of what we're going to do.
You mentioned two actually. You spoke about analyzing consequences and analyzing actions. There's two more. Maybe you can give us those two more, Olivia.
Okay, so sir, one would be to make decisions, alright? And then we have to analyze, of course, the impact of our decision.
Thank you very much. So this brings us to the end of today's lessons. And please, you're a very interesting class. Please do not forget that you need to take your flashcards and you post them in the Hfle corner so that your friends can provide guidance on the situations that may be affecting you. Thank you.